Just because you try to give someone a gift, it doesn't mean it will be accepted. It felt very much like this when Kira tried to serve Michael on a platter for the Fatefuls. At the end of episode 5, we saw the tensions in the conclave following Michael sacrificing $5,000 of the prize pot for his shield. We were left wondering why there was a knock on the door. Karine told the traitors they had to choose one player for the mission, which would see that player locked up in a cage. If the rest of the players succeeded in rescuing them, then that person would be free to continue the game. If the players were unsuccessful, it would see the individual eliminated. For this mission, they had the option to pick themselves because Karine showed them the key that would free them, a key that was going to be amongst others. With this, it meant the mission money sacrificed in the previous episode ended up only being a ploy to raise tensions because there was the chance of the chosen player not being murdered at all. Still reeling from Michael's choice to sacrifice the money, Kira was done and just backed off, saying Michael could have this decision. Neda was more apprehensive, but both concluded that Michael writing Mike's name was a bad move. That's who I believe Michael wrote down, until it was revealed at breakfast that Gail was the missing Fateful. There's been many occasions where traitors have eliminated Fatefuls that suspected them, one example being Mike from Canada's Season 1. With his fellow traitors, Mike was able to eliminate a couple Fatefuls that were suspicious of him, and did so the night they voted for him at the round table. What helped Mike was that he was able to handle whatever came his way. Michael is not playing well at all, so there's no confidence in him riding the wave and coming out the other side intact. Kira really ramped up her game by throwing Michael's name further than she's done before. If you had any doubts about who she was pretending to suspect, she's made it abundantly clear who it is now. Neda is even more wary than before, given how quick and easy Kira's been voicing Michael's name, while also hoping this will cast some eyes in Kira's direction to help Neda's game. I believe it will, but Neda has to work on her own game too, because we keep hearing that people think she's too under the radar, which leads to suspicions.
What is the possibility that today the traitors might start squeezing out one of their own?
Kira's face is not hiding her disdain for Michael. At times, it looked like she was campaigning, gathering groups of people to give her reasons for thinking Michael is a traitor. Kira seems to have this air of confidence that she's playing fantastically well, maybe borderline arrogance, but I think the way she's going about things with Michael could very well wreck her game.
Kira, she's angry all the time, and that's going to be her downfall. You know what? I'll use that to my advantage.
With all of Kira's pushing, Michael has the opportunity to do the funniest thing and turn this all around. Would he actually do so, and could he pull it off?
I think you're a traitor. I also trust you.
Lauren says I'm a traitor, and I'm just shocked. I think it's the other way around. I think Lauren is a traitor.
I thought this conversation between Kevin and Lauren was interesting because they both think the other is a traitor, but still came to some sort of agreement to work together. An interesting tactic from both of them.
At the round table tonight,
Yeah.
you need to interrogate Cedric because your words carry a lot of weight.
It was really weird hearing Tranna say to Nick that his words carry weight. The edits haven't shown us that this is the case. I've been wondering when we would be seeing more of how Nick is positioned in this game.
Let's not spend too much time together, but
You haven't heard anything about us?
no.
Not even a single thing?
We haven't seen many moments between Kira and Nick, but we sure did get a one-on-one conversation in this episode. It seems that whatever Kira's status in the game, Nick is trying to help her win. I thought it was a very intriguing prospect that if Kira plays this game right, her and her brother could end up being in the final, either with Nick as a Fateful or potentially a traitor. Would he want to become one if a recruitment offer was an option? While in the cage, Gail tells Kira, Nick and Pacman who she thinks are traitors, naming Aaron, Michael and Melinda. Gail had noticed Michael's nervousness at the round table in episode 5. Maybe Michael's early paranoia about Gail was him actually sensing the future. $4,500 was made from the mission, which also meant 3 keys were to be tried to free Gail. Michael didn't want Gail to be rescued, so it's funny that the key that rescued Gail was the one his team had. Tranna believes the traitors are trying to set Michael up. She's kind of right because there's Kira and Michael himself, Problem is that neither of them are on Tranna's list. Cedric, Melinda and Michael were the names going round. I thought Melinda was due for some scrutiny given Kirkland's banishment and Melinda's role in it. Cedric's name is the one that just keeps coming back around.
It is no longer clear to me that you're even trying to find the traitors. After 5 round tables, not even one traitor has been banished from my manor. Did I choose the perfect traitors, or did I just choose the wrong faithful?
Do we think Karine was too harsh, or could she have gone further? Judging by how this ended up playing out, she could have gone further. They are quite a collective, and the way the lead up to the round table was going, it felt like the votes could be split and we would once again see a faithful go home. Kevin and Lauren came right for Melinda. It seemed like Melinda was resigned to going home. That moment with Tranna really felt like that. Why didn't Gail tell everyone her observation about Michael, both at the previous round table and during the mission? Kira questioned Michael about the prize money sacrifice and even mentioned his reaction after the traitors were picked. I don't get why once again more of the saints who had the chance to sacrifice money for the shield weren't scrutinised, really making me think that Karine is right to question the faithfuls in this game. Gail was chosen and could have been eliminated. How will the traitors know that Gail was someone to target if one of them didn't have the shield? So the conclusion would be that at least one of the saints is a traitor, possibly even Gail herself. Gail did pick the key that Kevin freed her with, given that the players wanted her to choose which keys. The theory was put out there before the round table, partially by Michael, but it ended there. Yet most of the faithfuls are targeting multiple people in the sinners group that were in the church. Tranna voted for Michael, who she doesn't think is a traitor, but only to save Melinda if the votes were close enough. That vote was in vain as the majority voted to banish Melinda.
Shit.
You're all a bunch of fucking idiots. You really are.
The faithful are in danger of becoming outnumbered, and I am in danger of running out of patience.
She is not thinking clearly. She's just going on emotions instead of trying to work with us mentally.
Why would Tranna work with them when she thinks they're all a bunch of idiots? She's been part of the problem in past votes, but she's been very clear that the faithfuls keep being fooled. The thing is, they're being fooled by other faithfuls and not the traitors, because one was being handed on a plate and they didn't bite. Michael needs to get in the game and go on the offensive. Kira is literally gunning for him and he's not doing anything. If he wants to survive, he's going to have to take a shot at Kira and be better with his reactions, because Pac-Man didn't buy Michael's attempt at crying at the round table. Funny how in episode 5, when Michael brought up Mike and Pac-Man's name, Kira and Neda were saying it was a bad idea. Now they've brought both names up and Michael doesn't see what they're trying to do. Tranna was also mentioned by Kira, which would be a very interesting move. Tranna's very vocal at the round table and she's very vocal in her belief that Michael is faithful. Will the next episode finally see the faithfuls banish a traitor, or will the streak of banished faithfuls continue?